Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm doing my best. What's his name? I'm doing my best Boris Johnson impression. I feel hideously unwell because of the $60 packet of cigarettes. I've been smoking. Definitely won't be smoking after they're finished, but I can't decide whether do I just put them away. I don't know. Addiction is a funny thing. Addiction. I'm not accusing, an organised tobacco monopoly of what would you like placing an additive in the highly taxed cigarettes to lead people towards the black market. I'd have to have all the figures in front of me. Like I'd have to have the baseline wholesale rate of cigarettes compared to the inflated and tax-free black market cigarettes. But if I was designing an invasionary and a sabotage network, that's what I'd build. That would explain the current Labor Party's failure to launch into this new paradigm, and basically resting on its laurels of a socialist structure that they have been creating for 30 years, basically in which they replaced the church, all churches, with the church of the state, and forcibly stole every child or a huge amount of children in this. And it's pretty simple, basically. It's like you the church dealt with young promiscuous women by offering them nunneries. I'm not saying that that's the solution. They could become nuns, they could, do all these things. The state offered the solution to make them wombs of the state. And it funded the largest genocide, because if you get to, it's like genocide doesn't have to take place all in one go and outright murder like the Nazis did. Genocide can be stretched out. You know what I mean? You could argue that like another genocide that we're committing at the moment frequently is the genocide of chickens. Right? And I'm not saying in the RSPCA vegan argument of that. I don't have a problem with eating meat. But to raise, and chickens are really the best analogy for this, because they're self-contained in an egg, and they can be raised to sufficient harvesting age without any interaction from their parents. That's just not a necessary thing. It's because there is only one concern, and that is those juicy McNuggets or their juicy KFC chicken that they will eventually provide. Again, this model, this fast food model, this barbecue chicken at Coles model replaced all the other things that a household may do to provide its food. And an analogy that my father, this is just a little snapshot of late 30s, early 40s Hobart, was that chicken was a luxury item. It was like you would have a chicken perhaps for Christmas dinner, because chickens were expensive and rare, and they definitely weren't a staple, food source during that time. So I'm just wondering what would happen, and I'm not suggesting this, you know what I mean? Because we've already learnt from the mistakes of what happens when the church is given too much power, when the church and the state are any church are too friendly. But as I majoritively refer myself as a Druid, so a pre-Christian British person, and I can empathise then across all the oceans to the Aboriginal people. But then I can also accept a lot of the Christianity that has camouflaged itself in our pre-religion, like it's all very similar. But there are some, well, although I can never know because I was never, it's been a long time since the Romans came, but there's basically some similarities. It's a different thing, and it's I can hold Jesus as kind of the messenger, which is basically all that it ends up being. What I can't hold as a messenger is having this created fucking socialist solution of the state, of politicians, and police and judges being the parents of stolen children, because that's even during the stolen generation of Aboriginals, like that wasn't the case. Like we wouldn't have ever got anything done if that was the case. What is, like, these police officers don't have children and they were raised by this system. It's like it's like the copy of a copy of a copy, and this is like a little cassette. It's like, and because there's no they've had to replace the Christian any religious concepts because they've created their own. There is clearly nothing of substance there, but they are still acting with the ferocity of an all-out invasion. And the problem is, like, the invasion was 40 years ago. And so we have to get to the point where it's like, when I'm saying this, I've escaped 40 years of socialist communist incarceration. There is clearly a de-evolution of the society. And this has been outsourced. Like the cost of this invasion, which is the same as every invasion. If you go look at British history or Scottish history or even Ottoman history and Greek, it's the same model. It's like the leaders borrow ridiculous amounts of money that they can never ever pay back to fund their war efforts, and this is where we are. But the war efforts, the debt, wasn't taken on particularly by, it's not by a king. It was taken on by coercion in an echo chamber of the state government. And it's the entire Western world. From the migration, basically we can get to, it's like the forced migration of the Washingtons from England after trying to defend the king has, and then very shortly after that, the discovery and the colonization of Australia has extended a civil war from 400 years ago, well outside the bounds, the traditional bounds that civil war is being held in. And this is where we are. And it's very, very difficult because basically it's like this communist outflow that is indebted every single, or the vast majority of people. And it's like, I'm in this house that I'm in now is I would say the most worrying example and precedent, because it's slavery. Like, I am now speaking to you from inside the house of a slave that was enslaved by a fucking common Cockney fucking chav with nothing but fucking a twinkle in his eye and a fucking and maybe a bit of charm, bolstered by a fucking abomination of fucking indebted servitude across the entire fucking Western world. And then at the exact same time, I have, so there's two archetypes. There's this, and the problem is, it's like, this is happening, and then someone like myself who has to put in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours to triangulate myself in history, to do the economic equations, to get myself to a firm grounding to stake my opposition from. And this entire thing is basically funded on it's like the quality of living, like it's like this quality of life equation that conveniently doesn't apply debt to the equation. But debt is servitude. So basically, it's like we speak about the national debt and all this, but we don't. But if you are clearly exposed to be supposedly governing, and you are reliant on a constant and gigantic population of indebted servants, in which, like, the behavior seen from people is like not well-resourced people, just smooth talking fucking servants, smooth talking fucking slave masters, and like digital colonizers are acting as if they're the lords and fucking ladies but they're slaves. And then there is a migration, following the arbitrage, following the vacuum of this fucking debt tsunami, and extending outward. And this is why it had, like, this resistance, this final fucking, this final showdown has to take place on Great Britain. And we have to acknowledge the Protestant Reformation's role in this. unfortunately. You know what I mean? There is something has gone terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. At a time that unfortunately has spread this across the entire world. And it's like this shouldn't come really as a surprise. It's like in our migration outward from Great Britain, we brought absolute devastation in the form of, you know, specifically, I think most notably is the spread of viruses that had, and this is, so we have this current day thinking of these, you know, these, what are they called? Gain of function labs. But the original gain of function laboratory was a natural gain of function laboratory. It was called London. And there isn't a doubt in my fucking mind about this. It's like that was a filthy cesspool of human and animal excrement, crime, corruption, debauchery, you know, well before anyone. It was well before Berlin and World War II and the Weimar Republic. It's like a long time before, well before United States, and definitely well before Australia. And there was a cycle of this because we were expanding. So we expanded out beyond our boundaries, and then focused that expansion and the resource drive through the exact, you know, laboratory for this human condition, and then blasted it back out and accentuated it again. But there's no doubt in my mind, it's like we have to consolidate the fact that we are and Ireland is included in this. It doesn't matter whether they've got some, you know, rebellious identity that doesn't acknowledge that they were in that with us. And that just makes the problem 1,000 times worse. You know, the minute you go, okay, Ireland, Scotland, and England, and it's the same. It's like that. So is Holland. You know, and so is you know, that whole fucking European region. Extend France, even Spain, Portugal. Like, we extended out a model that was developed in our small geographical regions. Then we benefited from like overwhelming force onto these tribal peoples, like whether it's intentional or unintentional, you know, brought them a mass die off by our diseases and things like alcohol, and, you know, they've all got to be incorporated into it. But then we're now receiving the downfalls of that, but this temporary arrangement of state-based religion is attempting to completely cannibalize that expansion, but it's coming from the extreme of that rather than the conservative. And it's like, even our language, conservative is literally it's an English language. Like, London was not conservative. It's the opposite of conservative. But we have a London-based conservative ideal attempting to explain the global situation that stemmed from those buildings and from those streets. And unless we get back to the core of it, and especially because it's like we built Little Britain across the Western world, because of course we did. Like, that's what we did. That's what we had. You can only build from what you have. And we just extended it into these areas. And there's no doubt in my mind that this is going on. So this English Civil War has never stopped. And that what's happening today, when you get someone like Rupert, like, that has always existed on that island. There is that England, like London, was an abomination to the majority of landholders in England. So that's the seeds of this civil war. Then the expansion, all of the bad press, all of the negative feedback, all of the things has come from that expansion and from this mindset and from the enforcement of this, like, illegitimate, inappropriate expansion and design. It just doesn't work. It worked in England in the 1600s. It can't be the model. And this is why, like, Australia, I'm sitting in this slave's house, right? This slave woman's house who has been enslaved by her ex-husband to provide care and pay off a mortgage. It doesn't even make sense, the amount of fucking money, the amount of time, and for a cobbled together fucking, like, shanty with a constant uptake, chlorine swimming pool. But there's like, what, 1 million fucking kilometers of fucking coastline in this country. And none of the original people lived in houses. And it's not me saying that, oh, no, we don't live in houses. It's like, this can only be contained through the entire world's finance, through London, to pop here, and I'm just, attempting to get my seat in Lords and saying, hang on a second, well, none of the other fucking Lords in this place have any understanding about what's going on in the fucking greater fucking empire that you have profited from. This is fucking utter insanity. And it is held in those Houses of Parliament. We can't manage these, and this is what's always fucking happened. This is, and it's so funny. It's like, because the assumption is, like, everyone thinks about the British Empire, the empire's already gone. It's like, no, it's not. No, it isn't. But it's very close to it. And to have that on the spreadsheet, in the Houses of Parliament, is completely unacceptable. There is no doubt in my mind, people that have insulated themselves on that island have profited from the sale, the illegitimate. You have no right to have sold people, property, or any of these things to insulate your own fucking nest, which you haven't even been able to do. And this is just an extension. It's like, so British India was broken up and divided back and turned into Pakistan and India and like that. But those people were Indian. The people I'm speaking about now are English. And funnily enough, like, I've got a little iPod mini thing that I put on. It's got some legal courses on it. And strangely, I was walking past a church and I was listening to this history about, I don't know, Scottish cattle laws and things like that, and the ownership laws. And it basically described how, like, if someone is put under the care, the bailor of property, like to take care of it, that the law goes on that person, not, and if that person illegally sells that, then it has to go on the bailor. And that at the moment is the Australian government. Unless I'm wrong, unless I'm mistaken, the Australian government is the bailor of every man, woman, and child coming from Great Britain on this island and the land base itself. And it is now very exposed for creating and turning those people into slaves to appease their own political shortcomings. Is it like the amount of money my mother has been paid to become a bishop of fucking pharmaceutical companies, you know, despite the fact she can't do anything. You know what I mean? She's not qualified for anything, but she is a pharmaceutical bishop. She created a pharmaceutical fucking temple, again financed by the thing, you know, distributed pharmaceutical Bibles, and executed pharmaceutical doctrine onto her own son. She killed one of them and exiled another one for daring to read the Bible, the same Bible that she received on her Anglican wedding day. Do you know what I mean? Why isn't my mother rubbing shoulders right now with the Pope, with the Archbishop of Canterbury, with Muslim leaders, with Jewish leaders? You know, again, our so-called premier is a son of a child psychiatrist that has poisoned countless fucking children. And the thing is, it's like I've been in this war now for 10 years. How many people a day is one psychiatrist indoctrinating into their cult that is subsidized and, you know, completely created by our government and backed up on consumer debt, on individual mortgages? You know, the other premier I have from my historic state down here, from my family's historic occupation in the Southern Hemisphere, is Jeremy Rockcliffe. Again, but he's an opium baron. But it's like, and it appears, a fucking bishop. Bishops, priests, ministers, any of these people. And again, it's like this whole thing exists in the vacuum that they've left. It's like, oh, I was against organized religion. And I'll tell you exactly why. It's because I went to church with my auntie, who was very religious. They handed out, they did the collection. And my uncle, I think, gave the thing $50, and I had a word with him. I said, "Why'd you give him $50? They've just conned you out of 50. Like, you just went, basically, you went there, got some words, and sat in a thing, and then gave him $50. I was a child, though. I couldn't understand that. But that says more about my upbringing. You know, the fact that I was at my auntie and uncle's house in the country was because my mother was in a private hospital that she used to call the 5-star hotel, with, you know, a manner of West Australian celebrities in there, that was paid for in private insurance by my father, who she divorced when I was 2 years old. My father, that, you know, his property was split in half and divided and stolen by this pharmaceutical priestess. I mean, that's the language. It's so much more invasive than anything the church has been doing in the last 1,000 years. It is complete encirclement of every single person from birth in this system that does nothing but give authority of these kidnappers. And you can see that it's like, it started small. It started like, you know, the church has historically, both of them have done fucking horrible things. But it's not like that wasn't conflicted. These and specifically this has been targeted at women. And it is absolute slavery. It is absolute. It is a fucking completely inescapable arrangement of human farming. But it's like, to what end? And I kind of think it's like, to make this into like science fiction. It's like, you know, right now, say there was a extraterrestrial fucking, you know, higher level civilization that loved eating humans, right? Then these people, these kidnappers, this cult could, that's the only output, that's the only way they could ever balance their sheets. If they said, oh, these people that come from Andromeda fucking 7 love eating humans, like humans are their fucking KFC. And so this cult has built a bunch of dumb, retarded fucking, you know, zombie fucking humans just ready to have the Colonel's fucking secret spices put on them and sold. You know, and if that say they gave them tons of gold, that would work out for these people. The problem is that doesn't exist. And this is like, because this all comes from a divide where England did indeed go and steal people from other countries and then sell them, you know, capture them, enslave them, you know, make them work, make them think, and then enslave them. That was the selling. Right? Because it was, you know, we could go to the thing and we'll sell them here, and we'll do this here, and like there's always someone waiting to buy humans. The problem is now that there is no one there to buy these humans. And every single one of them is completely indebted. And there is no way. I think this is literally the fantasy of these space nerds. The only way they can balance their books, a little bit like our Labor Party now trying to sell, you know, our military, our entire military history. It's like there's no one coming to buy all these slaves that you have in stasis on their own dime. Their own fucking thing. And it is apps. Basically, it's like someone designed a psychological system of containment. I know because I'm sitting in one of the fucking pens right now, if you want to call it a pen. Two of the pens, actually. I'm sitting in it. So yesterday, actually a while ago, when I got here, all her ex-husband's clothes were in the fucking thing. Weird. All right, but people have quirks, you know what I mean? Divorces, a fucking thing. All this, like, I've gone through. This is a year now, and I'm like, well, clothes are clothes. I actually didn't care. I thought it was weird that she was doing it, but I was like, I don't really fucking care. Like this shirt here, I got from the fucking op shop. I didn't. Whatever. But it's like when it adds up. So yesterday, actually, like about 6 months ago, I kind of went, this is fucking weird. I'm going to get rid of these clothes. And I started knowing more about this particular grub and his actions and what he's doing and all these and the fucking just things, which is all going on while I'm doing this every day and everyone's just going about their fucking slave fucking chicken coop business. But yeah, about 6 months ago, I put all these clothes in bags and I said, no, I left them out and said, I don't want them. Like that was clear message for those clothes to be disposed away from where I am and put somewhere else. But they weren't. They were stuck. And these are like old clothes. It's like literally in a bag that had, there was Assassin's Creed merchandise, which is just even weirder. But the bags were stored. And it's like everything is stored. Everything. It's like there's this fucking and it's not at the level. It's not like hoarding. It's not like a hoarder. I've been into hoarder's house. I've done this. This is a malfunction from a completely ridiculously unsustainable fucking Ponzi scheme cult. Like we need to sort out who the fuck is a criminal and who isn't a criminal, because both of these people are terrorizing, like by their example, by their fucking their occupation here, this colony. And it's like basically to do with the finances, like the therapy involved to deprogram whatever the fuck has programmed an amazingly like beautiful, capable, intelligent, like proactive, all these things. This woman isn't a degenerate anything. She's one of the highest performing people I've ever seen, but is captured completely by this fucking ridiculousness to no end. And that is absolutely that cost. So it's like, all right, is the state's the parents, the state's the daddy, the state's the fucking therapist and the thing. It's like, okay, I estimate the cost to deal with this fucking current, this woman is 10 years older than me. I hate to think about what's happening, the 20-year difference to the 10 or 15 or 20 year younger than me, because it's 40 years of indoctrination. And I've had the pleasure of being in the company of almost every generation of these women, and I've watched what they're doing. So I know that the 20 years younger is ridiculous, conveniently right at the time when OnlyFans comes in. I guess OnlyFans is, in theory, that fictional fucking extraterrestrial race coming to give the gold for the slaves because they love eating KFC chicken. But again, that's just us. That's just us. See, there's no our history is not, it's like we don't sell our women as slaves. Do you know what I mean? In turn, our state cannot sell our women as slaves. This isn't a fucking, feminist utopian solution. This is a fucking last minute, last resort, like coerced decision by illegitimate fucking governments that have failed to do their job, that have created a fucking church, a feminist fucking utopian fucking church of slavery. There's no way out of it. They cannot. That's insolvency. They cannot cover the cost to rehabilitate the people that are manifesting this destructive and self-destructive and suicidal behavior that they have caused by their insistence to refer to themselves as the state daddy. Not the Pope, not the king, the state daddy. And as the legitimate bailer or guarantor on the loan of this region, of the loan of this, governance, they are, grossly negligent and completely illegitimate. Yeah, there's no doubt. It's like the pharmaceutical. This is a manifestation of our global shipping, global trade. It's probably the last remnants of companies like the East India Company, the Dutch East India Company, the English East India Company, which would counter to religious and domestic production and education, things like that. They benefited from the global shipping of products, tobacco, tea, coffee, sugar, narcotics, drugs, pharmaceuticals, and have absorbed into, growing humans. But they sailed around the entire world and they didn't find new land. They didn't find the new world to sell these people to. People for millions of years have just really done what their father done, maybe a little bit better. That's it. So it's no surprise. You know what I mean? The United States, when I call it us, it is us. It's us. It's an extension of the British Civil War 400 and whatever years ago. It's us. It extended. The United States, boom. That was what financed every single one of these strategies. It's like because people went and sold people to the United States. But as far as I know, the British government, the United Kingdom, is the only one that did anything to stop that. So we took the balance of that onto ourselves, but as according to most United States citizens, that's Abraham Lincoln done that all himself. And this is the final, attempt. But it's already too late. So I'm here attempting to gain the first levels of a diplomatic conversation about what exactly we're going to do. You've already failed to do that. We have full, absolute fucking clear road ahead of us to militarily fucking intervene in this, especially if we find out that there are particular regions that are trying to purchase futures in the United States and American fucking human fields. So as soon as we have documented and hard and fast fucking evidence that there is an intention to purchase humans from these regions, we will fuck those regions up. And this is like, if you're a West Australian, the only way you have of surviving, if you're a West Australian police officer, a Tasmanian police officer, a New South Wales police officer, the only way you have a fucking hope in hell of surviving the next fucking year is to arrest the current politicians doing this. They're not, that they can't pay it. They cannot pay you. They especially can't pay you for 30 fucking years. You are working at a fucking bankrupt fucking chicken farm, except they're not chickens, okay? They're not chickens. And do you know, it's like people that actually go and catch chickens for chicken farms, it's like they have to literally go and find like autistic people because that job is terrible. It's a terrible job. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to do it. You're especially not going to be able to go collect humans and stick them in trucks or ships to send them anywhere while you're getting fucking shot at. Not just by bullets, but by cameras, you know? Do you want to be those people? Not in some far off African land fucking 400 years ago, but here, your neighbors. You know, buzz up on fucking on ADD medication. Even still, you're still not going to be able to do it. And if you cannot complete the fucking sale of these human beings, you're bankrupt. And I'm telling you, you can't. It's not like killing people. You know what I mean? If you kill us, you're still in debt. If you kill all the livestock, in your mind, not mine, your words, not mine, your paradigm, not mine. If you kill all the livestock, you can't sell any of the livestock. And then you've killed half of your fucking population. There's no way out. The only way out is to sort this. You know what I mean? We've got to bring Washington, the Washington Monument back to where it fucking belongs. It belongs in England. A bit like me. That's what the top of it looks like, you know what I mean? It's called an obelisk. But this one's got Y's on it. It's just a little prop, but it's like that Washington Monument's in the wrong place. It's supposed to be in England. And once it is, then everyone will know what Washington was all about. Do you know what I mean? Then we can sort out 400 years worth of division, 400 years civil war. There's tons of wars that have lasted ages. This one's really long, but it's a pretty serious thing. It's like this was the formation of our own religion. It was the Protestant Reformation. Basically, we reformed. Then our enemies attempted to make us reform too much, you know, and enslave ourselves. And then we fought a fucking hard, firm war to stamp the firm groundings of our Reformation. And we won that war. You know what I mean? That took 400 years. If you, as the pharmaceutical fucking, you know, the newly established pharmaceutical fucking cult religion, who's not even, it's like, it's like you don't want to be called a religion because then everyone will know the trick. But you do want to be called religion because then that would legitimize it. But you have nowhere to go. You know, so I call you a cult to offend you, and I call you a religion to let everyone know what you've done. You know what I mean? It's like basically you assumed that the step from cult to religion was like one small step. Is it? Yeah, that's what it would have been. So it's like, oh, here's cult, and here's religion. Right? It's just a little gap. It's just a leap of faith. It's like it's one small step for man. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Well, surely if we can get to the moon, we can find a fucking extraterrestrial race that loves fucking KFC human. What would it be? It'd be KFH or KFP. KFP, because that sounds the same, because P, so Kentucky Fried People. But there just wasn't a market for it, you know what I mean? And we all know who, in America, who liked the fried chicken the most, and they were already slaves. So that serves you right, doesn't it? KFP. Fucking one small step for man. Yeah, one small step backwards for man, one giant fucking leap to nothing. Isn't it? Godless, utopian, fucking optimistic fucking cult. Godless, utopian, optimistic death cult. Good golly, Miss Molly. Good golly, Miss Molly. You know, it's yeah. It is the flaw in the Protestant ideal in the Reformation process was that it does open this. So this was almost inevitable. But I would argue now that because of this resolution, it's like, okay, so now we're at the same level as the original Christian church. Because how many Christians had to die before, you know, pagan Rome fell under its thing. So I guess it's like we took one. Actually, no, we've never referred to it as one small. It's one giant fucking step. It's actually not. It's 10 bazillion fucking tiny little steps. One giant leap for mankind. That's what it is. Because of course, think about what that does. It's like one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It's like, all right, you promised. That's what a check is. Here, look, I've got a check here that's written to the fucking Universal Bank Unlimited, all right, for $5 million. That's one small step for man. It's a check. Like literally and figuratively. You know, and then the check turned into the credit card turned into fucking consumer finance, consumer finance turned into fucking afterpay turned into fucking digital fucking human sex trafficking. Like it's always one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, but you missed. It's like that typical watch the fucking. There's this movie called The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and The Rock in it, and Will Ferrell and Samuel L. Jackson. And there's this scene where they go to like catch the criminals and they jump off this building and die. That's what you all did. And then you disguised it. So it's like you just pretended that you made it and then had to take drugs and turn everyone into a drug addict. A retarded drug addict moron that can't fucking use a calculator in order to continue on that fucking cult. And there's no doubt. There's just no doubt. You can see the destruction around you. You can see the de-evolution, like Idiocracy. But Idiocracy gave the reason that it was like all the dumb people fucking bred. All the smart people didn't have children. And maybe that's a little bit of the aspect of it, but it's like, no, all the smart people pretended that they built utopia. You know what I mean? And enforced a lie on the world fueled by debt. All the smart people were basically that fucking cocksucker that's leaning on a fucking Lamborghini going, this is my Lamborghini. And then forced everyone at gunpoint to fucking, you know what I mean? To make nice comments about their Lamborghini. And then they enslaved and attempted to cannibalize all the fucking dumb people. Dumb people. And I just watched, like, I watched the fucking RFK Kid Rock thing as well, and I was like, this is weird. They were trolling you. They were trolling you to expose this thing where you're like, oh my God, look at these people. Oh my God, I just can't. I just can't with these people. Don't they know that we're going to space? Have you got any Valium? Oh my God. Oh my God. How are our fucking pharmaceutical shares going? Oh my God, no. I just can't with Robert Kennedy Jr. as he fucking gets in that ice bath with jeans on. Oh my God, I can't. Oh no, you can't. You can't. They have these force fields of drugs around them. You know what I mean? Of perceptual force field of fucking pharmaceuticals to insulate them from their own horror, their own fucking horrible fucking, you know, detour that they've taken our entire empire on to nowhere. But as I said, I've got my own little fucking salt pyramid that I'm going to stick up on top of my obelisk. I've got the two glass kings there, and all the fucking paperwork of the official Declaration of Independence and Freedom of the British Empire, and every single subject therein is free now to worship God. Worship God and not pills. You know what I mean? Worship some God in your own way, however you wish to, instead of some pills. That's all we ask. That's all we ask. And also, while you're at it, clean your fucking room. Clean your fucking room. One small step for fucking, honestly. No, it's never one small step. It's 1,000 million never-ending steps, and you may never, ever make it in your lifetime, but maybe your great-great-great-grandchildren will. And that will be one giant leap for mankind. That is the history of fucking man. That is our history. That is our example. That is has always been the way things are. So it's good to be home. Toodaloo. I'm going to go smoke another one of these cigarettes and probably fucking vomit because, yeah, they're disgusting. What a fucking scam. You know what I mean? It's like it's these people fixing driveways and then making it worse, and then, you know, you have to constantly fix drive. It's just, yep.